going? How's everybody doing out there? What is the latest and greatest? Here on a Thursday, as I get ready to record another podcast, a little podcast pregame, lots to unpack. Generally, midweek podcasts or later in the week podcasts aren't as busy than they would be than a Monday, because obviously a lot of events take place over the weekend, obviously the football, NFL in this particular case. But with all that's happened in baseball, I'm going to get to the Mets in a moment. Also, the Australian Open, the first tennis tournament, which not a lot is going on there. But you also have the NBA, NHL, with some things that I could discuss in regards to a signing in Buffalo, a trade by San Jose as they try to fortify their young nucleus. You had a goalie fight there on Monday night, which, please, it doesn't harken back to Felix Potvin and Ron Hextall of yesteryear, but you did have that. And then when it comes to what's happening with the NFL, besides the preview of the championship games that I'll have, but also you have this dysfunction in Buffalo, which I got to unpack. And very surprising to see how that is shook down, maybe, where you have the GM, now the president, Brandon Beane, with Terry Pegula, the owner, and them coming out with Pegula trying to do damage control, but he was doing more damage than control. So that I'll touch on. And yeah, generally it's usually an hour, a little bit over an hour. This one could be like an hour and 15-minute podcast on Apple, Spotify, right here on YouTube as well. And if this is your first time hopping on board, and I know I haven't really posted these, although I haven't recorded these live streams, but I haven't posted them up because I know it's set to private, because for whatever the reason, that's the default setting, and that's fine. But yeah, I need to start putting these publics for everybody to see. And I know the last 4 or 5 I have not put up as public. Part of it is I forget. And then the other part is that after a few days, whatever it is that I talk about with sports and what have you, it kind of goes off in the clouds. There isn't any relevancy because, let's say if I'm going to talk about what happened a few days ago, if I put it public now, people are going to be like, oh, well, that happened last week, or that happened 2 weeks ago. Why is he posting this now? So I got to make sure to put this as public, if not by right after this live stream, but maybe after an hour or two. Because remember, I still have to do the podcast, I got to record it, etc. Jeremy, what's happening, my man? Welcome aboard. Good to see you. And yeah, so I got to make sure that I put these on public for everybody to see as I'm trying to branch out, as I'm trying to just get as many people eyeballs to watch this, whether it is live right now, like you are, Jeremy, and thank you, or for those who happen to come across my channel and be like, oh, wait, he had a live stream this morning? And I got to put it up there so people will know that. And I know I need to broadcast it a little bit more. I try to do that on my shorts every day when it comes to whatever it is going on in sports, but yeah, that's what I got cooking. There's a lot going on over the course of this weekend. I know we have a snowstorm that's heading in the Northeast. Oh, thanks, Harry. I know, and that's the one thing, because with these live streams and these impromptu ones, not the ones that I do every Wednesday, because obviously I have a link, I have it set up. These I just happen to, and I've been doing these for maybe at least 6 months, maybe a little bit more. And it's good because there are days where people find me, people don't find me, or I'll get a slew of people that next thing you know, I'll get X amount of subscribers. They're like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. But I do this because I love doing these lives. I love doing these pop-ups, to talk about the podcast, which will be out around, I'd say between 12:30 and 1 here on YouTube, but also on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. And yeah, the thing is that the default setting is on private. And because I do this before the podcast and everything is just generated all my energy, time, effort into that by the time I get to the evening, even the next day, I'm like, wait, I didn't put it as public. And yeah, so I got to make sure to put it as public right after. And, I got to do a thumbnail, I got to do a title. And I haven't been good and consistent with the thumbnails for these particular pop-ups. And I plan to do more of these. I know I do a Monday, Thursday, but I like to do them even over the weekend. In fact, this weekend I'm going to a content creator event on Saturday where, hey, toppers, simple enough, the JAYREELZ podcast. So obviously the name of the channel, but the JAYREELZ podcast. And I know, and I've actually thought about that too, keeping it, of course, the name, because that's the, whatever you want to call it, my stage name, I guess. Yes, hi to you, toppers. JAYREELZ is the stage name, but yeah, I'm actually thinking about having a name for the show. So, and I'm not going to go generic, but let's just say, I don't know, Daily Sports Chat with JAYREELZ. Because then people will be like, oh, where when people drop in my channel, they'll just see the name and like, what the hell is JAYREELZ? And then they'll look and they'll say, hey, and they see my titles or the title within the title, etc. And then, you know, that's how I generate interest, or that's how I generate subscribers, etc. But yeah, but the podcast is also on here. But if you do happen to listen, if you're a type that would prefer the audio as opposed to the video, yeah, Apple, Spotify, on those platforms, please throw me a few stars, write a review. I greatly appreciate that. And yeah, I know I'm more old school, even though I've become more open into watching podcasts as opposed to listening to them, because generally when I do listen, it's doing housework or chores. I know I'm a big runner. I love to run, but I don't use headphones anymore like I once did to listen to podcasts. I rather just keep myself clear, mind free, as opposed to just listening to something while I run. But yeah, and I'm coming up on an 8th anniversary of the podcast, which will be March 1st. This is on a Sunday. And I know I wanted to do an event somewhere in Manhattan to do a live show there. I don't know if that is going to happen. I got to wait and see. But it's getting close. I mean, here we are. It's approaching the latter part of January. What's today, 22nd? And yeah, next Sunday is the 1st. So, but yeah, we'll see. I'll keep you guys posted on that. But I'll probably do, not probably, I will do a live show. I know it's going to be on a Sunday. And it will actually be that March 1st. Of course, that'll be 2.5 weeks before the NCAA tournament. And obviously the Super Bowl will be long gone. So it's in the middle of, toward the end of winter. And for those who would be interested, it's a Sunday, winter time, depending on where you're at. It'll be a good time. We'll have fun. In fact, I have it on the channel if you want to even take a peek when I did the 7th anniversary. And I did a 5-hour live stream. 5 hours. I don't know if it'll be that long. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that's coming down the horizon. As well as other content. I have a few vlogs I'm going to post. I have one this coming Sunday. I'm chronicling the 20th anniversary of the Steelers Super Bowl run. But there's a tie-in with my dad and what it was like to watch with him. So I got that coming. And that's part 2 of 4 parts. Because if you recall, the Steelers had the 4 playoff games. And they were the first 6 seed to win a Super Bowl. So I got that coming. I also have on February 1st, which is you're getting a double vlog that day because I'm going to post part 3 then. But I'm also going to post the gift that keeps on giving, which is the Santonio Holmes catch, which will actually fall on the anniversary 17 years ago to the day when the Steelers won their last Super Bowl. So I'm going to put that up. And obviously with all the podcasts, with all the shorts, with all the live streams, I got a lot cooking. I mean, this is what I'm doing full time, people. This is literally my job, going on 2 years, quitting my job to do this and pursue it full time. And I have been doing it full time, but of course, not being able to generate funds. And I think I talked about this yesterday on the live stream every Wednesday, 12 noon here on YouTube, Eastern time, of course, that I do have some partnerships. But what I'm looking for is sponsorships where the money is already in the account as opposed to having to wait based on the partnerships, based on the, look at this, I'm getting, what is this? Sinners gets 18 Oscar nominations, breaking the all-time, wow, is that right? Jeez. Yeah, that was a very good film. I guess the Oscar nominations have been announced for those who are into movies. But the channel, yours truly, a lot going on. And as I mentioned, I'm going to this event on Saturday, which is good, meeting other content creators, networking, things of that nature, which is one thing I, knock on wood, that is the big plan here for 2026, to get involved in a lot of these events, whether it's with small-time creators, big-time creators, people in the industry, all that. So yeah, that is it. Because as me being an independent creator, I got to get out there and I got to really represent not only just the channel, my podcast, but me. I mean, I am the everything. I'm the spokesperson. I'm the marketing, advertising, podcast host, producer, editor, you name it. So, and obviously it's a big undertaking, but it's one that I know and knew going in that I was willing to take all that smoke. But it is a bit challenging because, again, it's not like I have a little team. It's not like I have someone to market or someone to be my social media person where they could post all the stuff and edit and do all that stuff. I mean, I'm doing all of it. So, which I don't mind, and it's certainly not a complaint. I'd rather do that than to work a 9 to 5 that, yeah, I understand, got the cushy job or got the nice salary and unlimited, I won't say unlimited, but I have weeks off, vacation, PTO time, etc. But that was just taking my joy. It wasn't what I wanted to do anymore. And, I was at my old firm 16 and a half years before I decided, I said, I don't want to do this. And the pandemic had a lot to do with it. When we were home and just doing stuff and, just being able to go ahead and pursue this and do this full time, it's a blessing. It's fantastic. I love it. And yeah, I just hope to now generate income and make it a thing where I am being gainfully, I don't want to say employed because this is my job, but just to be able to earn money. Victor, what's up, my man? All right, Toppers, what do you got? What is your favorite sports talk show back then and now? Mine is Mike and the Mad Dog. Oh, yeah. Listen, Mike and the Mad Dog they're the GOATs. And I listen to Russo now on Sirius XM. Russo's on 3 to 6. Not that I need to plug him. But yeah, I listen to him. I mean, that's my all-time favorite. I mean, it goes without saying. I never got into Mike and Mike, Greeny and Golick. I never got into them. I listen of Bill Simmons, of course. Simmons is one of the OG podcasters, especially when it comes to sports. But I haven't really listened to him as much. And I got news for you. The one thing about it, and I'll always love Simmons, but the one thing about him, he's just too much of a homer. He just, everything, especially now, I can't listen to him with the Patriots. I mean, it's just everything. Oh, Drake May and everything, all the Patriots. It's just, come on. You gotta have just a little objectivity. I understand it's your team that you root for, but listen, if you've watched me and followed me like you guys have, especially over the last few weeks, I'm first in line to praise my Steelers, but also first in line to destroy them. And that's how it should be. Listen, I get it. You break out the pom-poms from time to time, whatever. But yeah, you got to have some objectivity when it comes to doing what I do. I just can't say, hey, well, the Steelers had a bad night, whatever. And, hey, no, if so-and-so played bad or so-and-so coached bad or there was a bad play call, whatever, no, they're getting called down the carpet. I am not pulling any punches when it comes to this. And listen, the Mets, they've been wheeling and dealing here the last week between Bo Bichette, 2 nights ago with Luis Robert Jr., and then last night, Freddie Peralta, where it's, wow. But with that being said, it still gets tempered. I'm not right away thinking that, the NL East is ours. Or, hey, watch out, Dodgers, here we come. Come on, not that crazy. But yes, I like what they're doing, and it's a positive considering that the deals that they made earlier this offseason, the Devin Williams and the Luke Weavers and the Jorge Polanco, it's like, as they don't re-sign Edwin Diaz or Pete Alonso, and they traded Brandon Nimmo, and, we saw what happened there, and now they've pivoted to the point where it's like, okay, I see what David Stearns is doing. It took a while, kind of made me think that, wait a minute, was this the plan all along, or was this something that 3 weeks ago he said, hey, our fan base is getting restless, we got to do something, and all of a sudden they designed these plans. Fishing Angel, good afternoon. Wait, good afternoon. Are you in Europe somewhere? Because I know it may be afternoon in London, Paris, Rome. But no, I know you mean good morning. And I don't have any beverage for you. I still have some of the juice in the refrigerator, but yeah, Toppers, and I'll get to Victor. I'll get your comment in a second. But yeah, Mike and the Mad Dog. But Simmons, yeah, you got to be objective, man. You got to be straight down the line. And yeah, when your team does good, of course, I'm going to praise them. I'm going to be excited. But even 2 years ago, I know some of you guys don't go that far back, but when the Mets were going through their run in the postseason, unexpectedly, yeah, I was over the moon. But I wasn't like, yeah, we're going to face the Dodgers and I see us winning in 6. No. Not at all. That's one thing. And to me, you have to have credibility when you do this. You have to have some integrity. And you have to be fair. You have to be knowledgeable. You have to be all that. And I can still root for my teams and cheer and all that and, say what I got to say. But at the same time, I got to give credit where credit is due. Or in a case where they didn't do well, that's it. I mean, how are people going to take me seriously as not only a content creator, but someone who is going to be opinionated about sports, and it's going to be about me praising the Mets all the time, or the Steelers, or the Celtics, or the Islanders, and then killing the teams that I can't stand, whether it's the Yankees, the Ravens, the Knicks. And I know I got on the Knicks there yesterday. It's like, hey, what's happening? But you saw what they did last night. They only won by 54 points, so everybody could cool out on the skies falling near Madison Square Garden. But I'll even be objective about the Knicks, as I was last year when they beat the Celtics. And yeah, I know I have my little biases, like how did the Celtics blow the series? And to my grave, I know what I said. To my grave, they had no business losing the series, and they didn't. But they shot themselves out of that series in those first 2 games by just playing hero ball and shooting threes every 5 seconds. That's where they lost the series. Well, they should have won in 5 games, and instead they lost in 6. But yeah, so there's that. And what other shows? Well, let me see, Victor. What do you got? Doing a fine job. You got a great voice for what you do. You're ahead of the game. I appreciate that, Victor. I really do. And thank you for hopping on board today and being a part of the channel. And that's the other thing I'm building here too, is community with you guys. Because I know as I continue to build this channel, and with the man upstairs and his will, that I'm sure it's going to get to I don't want to say I'm sure. I guess my belief, how about that, is that it'll get to a point where it may be hard to respond to every single person. Now, you guys, of course, that have hopped in now, I'll respond to you guys. I'll do my best to respond to you guys. I may not be timely. And who knows, as I continue to build this and get to 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, God willing, 100,000 subscribers, where the comments may be flooded. And yes, although I'll read them and see what's going on and try to respond to them, but at that point, who knows? It's going to be difficult. But I know who my day ones are, or somewhere in between, that you guys will not be forgotten. Definitely won't, because without you guys, I would still do this, but this is where the community builds. And that's why the Fishing Angels, and obviously J-Rod and Bio and Val and James D, and now, you guys that have hopped on board recently, Toppers and Victor and Jeremy, this is what it's all about. To have a space where we all congregate, talk sports. Yeah, we may talk about other things if people have other questions in reference to. I know Toppers was talking about work stuff and how to deal with that. And hey, because listen, this is the toy department of life sports, and it's great. But if somebody had something on their mind, like you brought up, I guess it was, if not Monday, maybe the week before that, Toppers, about work, hey, so be it. And whatever it is that I could share, whatever wisdom I can impart, that's what it's all about. Yes, Victor, let's go Celtics. Win last night against Indiana. I know they lost to the Pistons 2 nights before that. But yes, Victor, let's go C's for sure. I appreciate that. And you too, my man. Have a great one. Thank you. Oh, good. I'm glad it did, Toppers, because, hey, man, we're all trying to find our way. We're all trying to, and listen, not that I have all the answers and what have you, but the bottom line is this is the community. This is what I've built here, especially more so over the last year since I've been doing live streams. And live streams are important because this is where I interact with you guys and gals to talk about sports. You get at me with any questions, philosophies, not just on life, on games, things of that nature. So it's important to me because, again, like I said, without you guys supporting me, I mean, it's an honor, it's a privilege to do what I do. I don't take it lightly. I don't take it for granted, that's for sure, because like I said, I try to respond to each and every comment, and I know I got to catch them on some of the comments over the last 2 days, which I will. But yeah, and even on some of my other social media platforms, whether it be Instagram or TikTok, and I know I got a bunch of comments there I got to respond to, which is, but hey, listen, I rather respond to the comments as much and as best as I can, and do that than to, and not that there's anything wrong with doing construction or sitting in an office or managing people or anything like that, but yeah, you get to a point in life where it's like, that's not what I want to do. I want to do what fills my heart. And listen, I'm blessed to be in this position to do this full time and to do it for now almost 2 years without generating a steady income. And I know that it's, it's just like anything in life. It's a big risk. It's a big challenge. But you know what? We need that in life sometimes. We need those. It's easy to just stay comfortable and to get to a point in life, depending on where you are in your life, whether it's in your 20s or 30s, or in my case, mid-50s, and especially mid-50s, because it's a thing where it's like, I got my job, I got my health benefits, I have vacation time, salary, etc., and not pursue the things that is burning in our bellies or what's in our heart. And yeah, I understand that this is all a risk. I understand that this is all a challenge, but it's a challenge that I've wanted. Again, I said this earlier, this is the smoke that I wanted. I wanted to take on all this. So, and I'm sure at some point, knock on wood, that will pay off. And I believe it will pay off. And that's because of my belief in what it is that I've invested in this over the last, think about it, really over the last almost 8 years doing this podcast. And yeah, if I don't believe in me, nobody else will. And if I don't believe that what it is that I'm putting out is I don't want to say it's a product, but it's a program, absolutely, Victor, without question. And Toppers, I'll get to that too. Well, you know what? I'll get to that right now. What does your wife think about you doing this? Let me tell you something. Toppers, she has been beyond supportive. And she's had to ask the question sometimes like, hey, it's been a year, what's going on? Or hey, now we're going on 2 years, what's happening? And I know my communication has to be better when it comes to that, because I know that it's easy for me to get wrapped up in what it is that I'm doing, that I don't apprise her of what's going on or what's taking place. But listen, she knows that I have my setup here, getting ready to record, or in the apartment, if something pops up and say, listen, I got to go record something. She knows. And she knows that I'm a kook when it comes to sports. So it's not a thing where I'm willing to take a day off. Obviously, the sports news cycle is 24/7. I'm always looking to see what's happening. And just like even yesterday in doing the live stream, and here I was talking about Cody Bellinger, and then literally minutes later, he signed. Or last week when Bo Bichette came on and signed, and I was on the live stream and talked about that. Or when Pete Alonso last month, when he signed with Baltimore and we were on live. I love all that stuff. I can't get enough of it. So, hey, Aida Cosa, you've been popping on my feed almost daily. That's it, man. I'm going to continue to keep pumping content on your feed day in and day out. It'd be an injustice for me not to do so with everything that's going on. So I appreciate that. And no, she's been great. And I understand it's going to come a point, and we've talked about it, like, hey, because obviously I'm pulling money from savings, and it's a situation where it's not going to last forever. But, we've had those discussions of what it is that I'll do. And, obviously that's between her and I. But right now, everything is fine. Everything's good. And I have, like I said, a few partnerships, which I know I got to pump out and I haven't really shared with everybody. But I will in due time, because I do have a few. And whatever that support that I get from you guys, if you're willing to purchase things online with some of the links and some of the promo codes, that'd be fantastic, because the channel gets a kickback on that. But really what I'm looking for is the sponsors. I'm looking for that company or companies to say, oh, we want you to put our stuff on your channel, whatever, and here's whatever, X amount of dollars per month. That's the goal. That's it. So, yeah, no, she's been ultra supportive, and I'm beyond grateful for that. And yes, man, Victor, you got it. And I'm following them. I'm living it. But I'll really be living it once. And listen, I'm not in this to try to make, zillions of dollars or whatever. But I just want to have flexibility. Because thankfully, I live below my means. I'm not the type to, I got to keep up with the Joneses with the new car or the new gadgets or wear designer clothes or be in 5-star hotels, going on vacations, things of that nature. No, I've always lived below my means. I'm never one to say, I got to have a whatever, I don't know, Roberto Cavalli suits or Louis Vuitton belts or handbags. No. Me, even if I hit the lotto tomorrow, I would still do this. I would not stop. I would still pursue it. Now, I'd have more flexibility, maybe build a studio somewhere. But, yeah, I would still shop where I shop. Same supermarkets, same whatever, Marshalls. Listen, I am not, no way. I wouldn't change, and I mean that, 100%. But, no, I appreciate that, Victor, and Toppers as well. Aida Kosa, yes, absolutely. Me too, I'm a kook when it comes to sports. My wife tells me that too. Yeah, man. Hey, listen, this is for like-minded people. I can't get enough of it. So, yeah, you and I are in that same boat. Minnesota Fats. The whole league is scared of David Stearns even before the masterclass on MLB Hot Stove. Listen, I'm surprised, Minnesota, how that turned around. Here it was, Devin Williams, Luke Weaver, Jorge Polanco, and you're thinking to yourself, that's it? It can't be it. And then now in the past week, it's Bo Bichette, Luis Robert, and then last night, Freddie Peralta. And listen, I'm going to temper Peralta by saying this. I understand the connection, David Stearns, he and the Brewers with Peralta, but remember, he's on a rental. He's a free agent after this year. Are they going to sign him prior to the start of the year, which is probably going to be Ranger Suarez type money, 5 for $130? Are the Mets willing to do that right away? Are they willing to see how he's going to do this year and then re-up him at the end of the year? I would think because of the relationship, maybe they'll try to hammer out a deal. So he's owed $8 million this year, but with an extension, he won't get paid whatever, the 20-some-odd million starting next year. But they have to re-sign him. And listen, they gave up Brandon Sproat and Jet Williams, which I get it. Those are two guys that were going to be part of their future. But and I got news for you. Freddie Peralta is not in my eyes, I get it. He was amongst the tops in the National League in the Cy Young. I think he was second in Cy Young. But is he Tarek Skubal, Garrett Crochet? Is he Paul Skeens? He is not. I understand there's just a handful of those guys. To me, he's second tier. But it was a trade they had to make. 100%. So, Val, what is happening? So, I'm not going to look at it I'm looking at it as a positive. And that's exactly what it is. So, wait, politics. What am I seeing here? Hold on. What do I think about Greenland situation? Oh, no. Yeah, Aida Kosa, I can't get wrapped up in that. Yeah, and I won't. And listen, do I know what's happening? Yeah, but I'm not deep in the weeds with that. So yeah, I'm not. I can't go there. And that's the other thing, too. I'm not going to talk about something I don't really know about either, so. Or know fully in depth. That's like me talking about, let's say with sports, that's like me talking about World Cup right now. I got to do some research with that because obviously I'm not a soccer guy. Yeah, I know who the powerhouse teams are. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, but could I tell you rosters? Can I tell you the players to watch out for or whatever? I can't do that. But when the World Cup comes, I'll make sure that I'm apprised. And I understand I'm parachuting in on that. But if somebody asks me right now, oh, who's going to win the World Cup? I couldn't tell you. And I could go the safe route. I could say, oh, maybe Germany, maybe France, maybe Brazil, Argentina. I mean, but anybody could do that. You know, and what is kind of service for me to you guys is telling you about the teams that are obvious. Like if somebody said, oh, who's a dark horse team in the World Cup? I couldn't tell you. So I'm not going to talk about something I don't know. And certainly with the Greenland thing, I do not know about that. And listen, Aida Costa, I understand it's nice to discuss about things that matter. I get it. But yeah, I'm not well versed on that. So I can't tell you. And I'm sorry about that, but I'm just being honest. Let's see, Minnesota Fats. The Mets, 40 years, no rings. We're worried about Greenland. 40 years, I know. 40 years. 17 years old when the Mets won the World Series. 17. It's about time. All right, let's see. Victor, yeah, I know you look like I appreciate that. Solid head on your shoulders. I can feel the heart behind it. Remember, it's no longer a game anymore in sports. It's a business. No, absolutely. And that's the thing, too. And I'm well aware. And, Victor, I've shared this with people who have followed me for a while. And this goes back to the integrity. And I understand that, let's say, if sponsors and things of that nature come out of the woodwork, but I want to be aligned with certain sponsors. I'm not doing this just for money. Because I'm sure there's other content creators here on YouTube that have 100,000 or more than that followers or subscribers. And you know, they have, oh, hey, BetMGM, use the promo code JAYREELZ. They're not going to get that from me. I'm not a gambling guy, never gambled. I don't care. Now, my wife will probably say otherwise, but they could say, hey, here's $100,000. And for the year, we want BetMGM on your website, on your channel, et cetera, et cetera. Would it be enticing? Of course, but it's like, no, I don't gamble. Now, listen, I talk about over-unders. I have fun with that. I don't really talk about point spreads here. If you've listened to me on any of the live streams, you know, I'm not saying, well, hey, the Patriots are favored by 5.5 in Denver this weekend. I'd rather just talk about the game, matchups, how it could break down storylines, etc. I'm not breaking down point spreads, in-game parlays. Well, I can't talk about in-game parlays. I have to watch the game. But you know what I mean. I'm not getting into that. Or prop bets. No, I don't do that. You know, it's not like I don't eat McDonald's, but if McDonald's was going to offer it, I'm passing. I understand it's a business. I understand I'm trying to generate money, but that's the other thing too. I'm aligned with what it is that I want and what it is that I'm looking for, not only for my podcast, but for the people that listen to me too. So, and to me, that's of the utmost importance. So, but you're right. And I'm just talking about me from the podcast perspective. But as far as no longer a game anymore in sports, it's a business, it is. Because, and who gets shut out the most? The fans. Which is sad, which is a shame and all that. Because just look at what's gone on with the way we watch sports now. And I didn't even mention this yesterday, but I love it that, and I understand there's only 2 games, but I love it that it's CBS and Fox that are covering the games. Because when you think about Wild Card Weekend, or even this past weekend, each of the networks have a game. I loved it when it was just CBS and Fox, where Saturday, like, oh, wait a minute, what's the first game on? Oh, it's CBS, that's right. And wait, the nightcap, is that Fox? Or is it ABC, ESPN? Is it NBC? I mean, it's just, And then obviously with Peacock and Prime, and I mean, it's just, forget it. Netflix too. And I understand it's 2026. This is the way the world is now. It's streaming. But like you said, it is a business. But me personally, I don't want to handle or operate what it is that I do. And I understand there has to be some sort of business involved, but not to the extent where I'm just going to sell out. And it's documented here. So now, as much as I've killed First Take, if somehow, some way they have me on as like a guest, Of course, I would do it. I mean, it's exposure, it's etc., whatever. But yeah, and I hate to use them as an example because I don't watch First Take. But to me, it's like that's sports talk for dummies. It is, and I understand during these pre-production meetings, they would probably have me tempered to be like, all right, well, we want you to say this, or okay, I could be the bad guy, which I wouldn't mind being that. But it's like, no, but if I want to really say something above that or something that people haven't heard or whatever, and I'm going to say it. And if they're like, oh, no, we can't have that, then I don't want to be a part of the program because I got to be me. I have to be me. I'm not trying to be a caricature. I'm not trying to be a guy that's going to pound my fist when I have to. No. I don't want this to be choreographed. I don't want this to be orchestrated or manufactured. No, what you see with me is what you're going to get. And that's it. Which is going to be passion, which is going to be energy, which is going to be fire. It's going to be entertaining, engaging, all that. So that's what you're going to get, people, as you all know. Val, Warriors Mavericks. Where's that game? Is that another Klay Thompson back to the Bay Area? Nah, that game's probably in Dallas, though. Well, I'm glad you're doing good and you got your stretching classes in, which I'm a little jealous. As I'm scrolling up here. Yeah, Toppers, I'm sure you probably asked a question, but yes, whatever's on your mind, guys, again, I'm transparent, open book. Please. Warriors, I'm kind of not happy about last Warriors loss. I don't know if I can watch it. Yeah, I know, no Jimmy Butler either. Thank you, Val. Yeah, it's crazy how there is so much. I know, NFL. What's first take, Stephen A. Smith? Yes. All right. Jay, did the Yankees try to troll the Met fans by announcing the Bellinger signing in the middle of Bichette? Oh, I don't know. I didn't see any of that. Wait, did the Yankees try to? Well, remember, we were on yesterday live when Bellinger signed. So I wasn't on any of the social media, and I didn't really look on Twitter. I am on Twitter, but I'm not on Twitter as much as I should. To me, I'm an Instagram guy. I know I should be on TikTok a little bit more. I like Threads, too. Instagram Threads is really good. But no, I didn't see any of that. And it's funny, here they are, they're trying to troll, which, I mean, that's the biggest joke. The Yankees have done nothing this, what, Cody Bellinger on January 21st? So they're the last ones to troll. And I know there's one guy who I'm hoping to get on, and we talked about this yesterday. In fact, that event this Saturday, Minnesota, it's in the Village, too. If you're interested, hit me up. It's a content creator event. It's going to be held by Keith McPherson, who used to do the evenings at WFAN. And now he's doing his own thing. He's branching out, which I admire. And I'll be there on Saturday. I think it's 2 to 5, West Village. And he is a big Met troll. And of course, he's a huge Yankee fan, but I want to talk to him. I've had a bit of a rapport with him. He's been on my podcast dating back to last year. I have my interview with him, which is on the channel. So if you haven't checked that out, please do. But, and he's a real good guy, very good guy. But I want to get him on, maybe on a live stream, and maybe not during the afternoon. Maybe I'll have him on an evening live stream where I'll have him on. I want to talk to him about that. Because I only troll the Yankee fans once a year. Thankfully, for 16 straight years, I've been able to do so. But I want to talk to him about that. But I didn't see that, so I gotta look into that. All right, Toppers. Let me see. Any more comments? All right. With what the Dodgers are doing and what George did with the Yankees, and I'm a Yankee fan, what do you think is worse? I think the Dodgers. Yeah, the Dodgers. And Bio's not in the room, so even if he was in the room, I'd still say what I have to say. No, his is actually, the Dodgers are worse. I mean, think about the players that they've gotten just in the last 3 years alone. Let's break it down. Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Roki Sasaki, 3 pitchers from Japan. Top pitchers at that. And Shohei, we know from Anaheim, I get it, but he does pitch, and I understand he had Tommy John. He didn't come back until the middle of last year, but we know he's a dual threat. Now you still got to add in 2 more pitchers. 3, when you think about it, Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow. 5 guys they added to their rotation, just alone, right then and there. Edwin Diaz, the best closer on the market this year. On top of Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, Tommy Edman, who they got in the trade. I understand he's small potatoes, but still. Kyle Tucker, and I think I'm missing one other player. Well, Mookie Betts got in a trade house 2020. I'm just talking just in the last, since they signed Ohtani. I mean, they've gotten all these players. Now, even George in his last go-round in 2009, he signed CeCe Sabathia, AJ Burnett, Mark Teixeira, and I believe got Nick Swisher, who was a bit part, but still. And that's 4 players in one off season. That's really good. And they won a title that year. And this isn't including in 2001, after they won 4 out of 5 World Series, they signed Mike Mussina, Jason Giambi. Well, Giambi was after 01, now that I think about it, because Tino played that last year, and then Giambi came in 02. Hideki Matsui, and then 04, they really went crazy. Gary Sheffield, A-Rod. I mean, please. Yes, thank you, Thomas A-Rod. I mean, so many players. So, but I have to say the Dodgers are worse because just in the last few years, I named all those players, and I may be missing 1 or 2 off the top of my head, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, but here's the thing, and it's easy because back then, we called the Yankees the evil empire, and of course, I didn't have the foresight then as a younger sports fan than I do now, because yes, it's easy to call the Dodgers the evil empire now. Yeah, I mean, rightfully so. And I was calling the Mets the evil empire when Steve Cohen came on board and he brought in Max Scherzer, and they traded for Francisco Lindor. They signed him, and all the deals that they made prior to the 2022 season, that I said, oh my God, now that Mets are the evil empire, getting all these players. But you know what? That's not the case anymore in my eyes, because the Dodgers, they're doing everything legal. Yes, is their payroll through the moon? 100%. But they've won the last 2 World Series on top of a lot of those contracts being deferred, so they're able to, I don't want to say circumvent, because there isn't a salary cap, but to circumvent the luxury tax to where they're not paying these full salaries. Because let's face it, if they paid these guys without any deferred money, their payroll would be $600 million. I mean, think about it. Ohtani signed a 10-year deal worth $70 million, where, think about it, $68 million of that is deferred. No, is it 60? I think it's 60. No, hold on. Oh, 680. Get my math screwed up. I mean, think about that. $680 million deferred. So over the next 10 years, in essence, he's getting paid $2 million a year. Now, that's not on top of endorsements and all the other money he's making off the field. But not many teams could do that. I'll be honest, the Yankees could do that, but they won't do that because, and the Yankees print money. It's not as if they're in the outhouse. It's not as if they're in the basement. But Hal is working his operation in that fashion. If George was alive, he'd see what the Dodgers are doing. He's like, no. I'm trading for Paul Skeens. We're getting him. I don't care if it means we got to sell the whole farm system. And Paul Skeens will be a Yankee today because he sees what the Dodgers are doing, and there's no ifs, ands, buts, maybes about it that would have been a situation. Yankees get Verlander. Oh, yeah. If they get Verlander or Scherzer, that'd be a waste. No, and their pitching is fine. Now, the thing is that they have to wait until May for Carlos Rodon and probably June for Garrett Cole to go along with Luis Heel, Cam Schlittler, Will Warren, Max Fried. I mean, their rotation is set. And that's why they haven't made any deals. Now, they got Ryan Weathers for the Marlins. I mean, and they re-signed Ryan Yarbrough. And Paul Blackburn for that matter. But yeah, their rotation is set. I don't think, Scherzer, Verlander, nah, I'd be shocked. Even if those guys play for free, I'd be shocked. But it's the system. Baseball screwed up. Baseball is an issue. Oh, here it is. McCaffrey, 4 quarterbacks named MVP finalists. The other 4, I have to be, let me think. Well, you're going to see Drake May and all quarterbacks. Drake May, Matthew Stafford, Josh Allen, I guess. And the 4th one would be, it ain't Sam Darnold. All right, let me look. Oh, Trevor Lawrence. Yep. And Christian McCaffrey. So those are the 5 finalists for the NFL MVP. Sell the whole farm system for Skeens. Listen, and then you're going to have to pay him a ton of money, but listen, Skeens is what, 24 years old? I mean, yeah, I would pack the car with Jonah Tong. Now, you'd have to, at this case, you'd have to keep Nolan McLean, but maybe you'd have to trade him too. But yeah, I do the same thing. Without question. Yes, Val, Buster Posey is that guy. Yes, CMC. That is your guy there in the Niners. But a new OC for Baker. Yeah, I'll get to that in a second there, Val. But that's baseball. And the CBA, I know somebody brought that up yesterday. Will the start of the season be delayed in 2027? I think it will. I'd be shocked because the owners are going to ask for a salary cap and the players don't want it. They don't. And I've said this before and I'll say it one more time. If baseball said, if they punted 2027 away to get it right for 2028, I'm all for it. Even if it's 2029, which it wouldn't go that far, but I want baseball. Baseball is my first love. To me, I don't care what the NFL can produce. And the NFL, they have their thrilling games, just like any other sport, but nothing beats baseball. And if you want to argue with me, not saying you guys want to argue with me, but if you want to argue with me or anybody who's watching this on the replay, just think of Game 7 of the World Series this past year. That Game 7 was for the ages. That Game 7 had twists, thrills, suspense, drama, and everything. The NFL can't match that. It cannot. And the best way to describe it, and Toppers, you'll like this. This is from the great Mike Francesa. He says it best. He said the 13-pitch at-bat in May is much different in October. And think about that. One more time. The 13-pitch at-bat in May is much different in October. That's it. NFL doesn't have that. NFL is a clock. Runs out. And I understand Hail Marys or last-second field goals to win games. Yeah, that's thrilling, etc. But that World Series, where that ball's going back to the track and Andy Pages collides into Kike Hernandez, or Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who pitched the night before, is pitching 2 1/3 innings to win World Series MVP, or Miguel Rojas hits a game-tying homer in the 9th inning with 1 out when they were down 3-0 in the game. I mean, you can't make it up. Baseball is the best. And with that being said, I want to protect baseball at all costs. And yeah, whatever I could do to preserve baseball, and I understand that this is between the players and owners. There isn't anything I could do about it as a fan. I could talk about it. But I just hope that they get on the right page and fix it and get it right. Because if they don't, if there's not a salary cap, by the time, and who knows, I may be long gone by this, but hopefully I'm alive in the year 2050 to witness it. Who knows if baseball is even going to be talked about 10, 15, 20 years from now, if that's the case. And baseball has deep, rich tradition in this country. And when you think about sports, from the beginning of time, and that's the late 1800s. NFL can't even match with baseball. NFL doesn't have Babe Ruth. NFL doesn't have Lou Gehrig. I understand they have Jim Brown, Tom Brady for the recent folk, and Otto Graham. I listen, Ray Nitschke, I understand, Dick Butkus. But think about it. Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, Rogers Hornsby, Hannes Wagner. Listen, you can go on and on. And that's why baseball is king. Always will be, in my eyes. Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle. Football doesn't have that. Listen, it's popular and it's by far the impenetrable shield. They're bulletproof. Where the other sports, obviously they have their following, but they can't rival the NFL. But baseball's history can rival with any other sport. Boxing, college football, even horse racing for that matter. Horse racing goes back 150 years, even though it's archaic, but I understand. So, yeah, I'll do anything to protect it. And I just hope that the players and the owners feel the same way when it comes to hammering out a CBA, and hopefully not for 5 years like they did the last time. Hopefully this will be for a decade. And that, remember, they just recently signed a rights deal, NBC, for the next 3 years because they don't know what baseball is going to be like after 2026. But hopefully, just like the NFL and even the NBA, please, even the WNBA, look at the rights deal that they just signed. And that's not a knock on the WNBA by me saying it that way, but come on, Major League Baseball should get that and then some. And they probably will once they get their act together, but, we'll see. Christian McCaffrey, Val, 49ers had so many injuries. Oh, we all know. Yeah, they were decimated. Mine goes MLB, NCAA, NFL, NHL, NBA in that order. Yeah, mine is baseball. Yeah, football second for me. You know what? It's funny you say that, Toppers. College football, I've only really, truly gotten to college football in the last 20 to 25 years. Now, listen, I've been following it, and I've been following it since a boy, but I really never got truly into it until, about 20, 25 years ago. And the reason being is because I don't have a college football team. I don't have one. I have a college basketball team. I love Georgetown. And obviously they haven't done anything since 2007 when the last time they made it to a Final Four. And college basketball, listen, that's a shell of its old self. And it's a shame because college basketball, when you think about it, is really 3.5 weeks. It's a tournament. And it's all because of brackets and gambling. And, that's it. But to me, it's baseball, football, basketball, hockey. Hockey used to be my 1A back in the 80s and 90s, but not anymore. But I still love hockey also. Hey, how do you pronounce that? Can I just call you Seth? Hey, Seth. How do you pronounce that? Patapaseth? Patapaseth? Oh, you like Army Minnesota Fats? All right. You go back to the days of Bill Parcells, the 80s. He was a coach in the Army, wasn't he? He wasn't a head coach. I believe he was a coordinator. Defense. Toppers, I agree. Yeah. So that's what I got, people. That's what's cooking. That's what's happening. I don't know. Anything else happening in sports here? Brandon Ayuk, yeah, we know about that. Oh, yeah, you talked about the Baker before. Hold on a second, Val. Where was that comment? Baker. Yeah, Bucks set to hire. Yeah, Zach Robinson. Now, I guess there's a connection with Robinson and Baker Mayfield. Now, let me see. Fifth coordinator, 5 seasons, four seasons for Baker Mayfield. Yeah, I don't know why they would take the Atlanta. Now, listen, I understand Atlanta has a very good offense, but yeah, I don't know why they would take him. WNBA, my team. Oh, the Valkyries. Yes, Golden State. Yes, I remember. No, and I've gotten into the WNBA. Listen, am I watching every game or am I like following it on top of it the way I am with the other sports? No, but listen, women's basketball has gotten popular here over the last couple of years. A lot has to do with Caitlin Clark. And, right, am I going to follow it the way I do the other sports or the other leagues? No, but listen, I got to keep myself abreast of it. You know, I'm not just going to be like, who watches that stuff? That I won't do, but... And obviously, the Liberty won a title 2 years ago after the Aces won this past year. Look at me talking WNBA. But, yeah, that's what I got, people. Anything else that's on your mind? Anything else? Any questions? Whatever you got. Now is the time. Let me see. Is there anything else? Anybody pumped up on the Olympics? I'm not. NHL, MLB packages are worth this. Didn't they do that at one point? No, I know what it was. Minnesota, you remember this. You remember, I think it was about, was it before the pandemic or maybe right after the pandemic? I think it was before. Remember when Facebook, they were showing games on Facebook for free? Remember that? And they would highlight like one game. Generally, it was like an afternoon game. They usually did like a Wednesday, like a getaway game. I don't think they did night games, but they did a Wednesday afternoon, whatever the getaway day game was that week. And they would broadcast that game for free, which I thought was really cool. And listen, I'm surprised that Facebook, as much of a juggernaut they are, and I remember they also did Twitter, also they did some games too. Let me think about that. I know Facebook for sure. I'm surprised that they're not getting on board. And as I say this, watch. You're going to see they'll hammer out a CBA and they'll talk about how you can watch games on Instagram or TikTok. But yeah, they should do that. Similar to what Facebook did, because those games were free. I'll never forget that. Yeah, and that's the thing. Unless they have a regional network, obviously SNY, Nesson, or Yes, I mean, there's no way that here in New York that Pix 11 or back in the day Channel 9, they're not making money. And they put those games on a weekend. Where I get it, the baseball fans going to watch that, but they don't generate any ratings. The ratings are terrible. You have to have a network in order for them to generate money. But I remember that Facebook, because I remember they had a few Met games on, and that may have been before the pandemic, now that I think about it. But, yeah, pitchers and catchers less than 3 weeks now, which is crazy to think about. And then the players will report 4 weeks. Yeah, I remember that. In 2016, MLB Game Show for free game of the day. Oh, was it 2016? Was that far back? Jeez. Yeah, that's the one thing. Now, I don't know, like the Tubies and the Hulus of the world. I know the Hulu and the NHL, they have that package. That's only because of Disney. But, yeah, now Netflix, they're showing, whatchamacallit now? Podcast. I know Bill Simmons is on that. Oh, look at that. Here I'm talking about Caitlin Clark, and today's her birthday, huh? Well, happy birthday to Caitlin Clark. Good for her. Good one, Val. Let's see. Just thought of something before I say goodbye. Hey, what's happening here? Can we refresh that? Okay. Hold on. All right. Oh, it's 2. All right. Short on X. Yeah, that's what I got. Let me see. Anything, speaking of which, let me see. Because Mets land All-Star Freddie Peralta and blockbuster trade. Is that a blockbuster? I don't know about that. It's a bit of a stretch. Uh-oh, Chris Shula, where's he going? Now, if you're Chris Shula, would you go to the Dolphins? Now, I understand they got their coach, the defense coordinator from the Packers. I think it's defense coordinator. Please welcome. Oh, wait a minute. What? They're saying Chris Shula for the Steeler job. Is Chris Shula? I don't know. Interesting. Now, I wouldn't be surprised. I know they interviewed Mike McCarthy yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Chris Shula. Val, who do I think I signed as DC? Steve Wilkes is looking for a job, isn't he? Corey. Hey, Matt, what's happening? Corey, all right, I understand you can say, but the Bills, you said the Bulls, you mean the Bills. How do you feel about your owner and your GM not only throwing Keon Coleman, but your former coach overboard? Matt, you think the White Sox will play above 500 baseball this upcoming season? You know what? They made some sneaky moves here. I don't know about their pitching, though. That's the only thing. And they got a lot of good young players, too. 500? I don't know. I think maybe next year, the year after that. I got to look at their rotation. I mean, think about it. They won 41 games 2 years ago. Last year, they won what? 60? This year, if they take a 10-game leap, they'll be in the 70s. I would probably say, if there's baseball in 2027, I'd probably say then. But who knows? It may surprise people. I used to follow the NBA, but stopped when Jordan stopped playing. Now it's only playoffs. I'm a Bulls fan. What about when Derrick Rose, in the early 2010s, when he was MVP and had a 1 seed before he blew out his knee, of course? I'm sure you like the Bulls then, too. No toppers? All Matt and Buffalo were protesting it. Is that right? Yeah, I know there's a lot of people that love Sean McDermott, and to me, that was a joke. He didn't deserve to get fired. I understand you look at the track record, but Terry Pegula, that press conference yesterday, he was awful. Cutting off Brandon Beane every 5 minutes. And, I mean, Keon Coleman, I'd ask for a trade if I was him. And not that he's distinguished himself a lot, but, yeah, pitching is rough. Yeah, that's the only thing. You have good young players. Murakami. Yeah, Chris Shula from day one for the Steelers. And the Vikings actually extended Brian Flores, but he could still interview with other teams. Who are you going to get better than Sean? I don't know. Do you want Mike McCarthy? Or what about, let me see, hold on. You're going to want an offensive guy in there, I would think. And that's why I said Mike McCarthy. I'm sure you're probably like, I don't want him. Let me think. If I had to think, like, who besides Mike McCarthy, offensive, you got to think offensive mind. Well, I was thinking Mike McDaniel. I know he signed with the Chargers, but you wouldn't want him after his Dolphin. Joakim Noah, yep. During those days. I'm sure you had to like the Bulls then, no? Yeah, just joking. All right. Matt, I obviously had Jay Noah jersey being from Chicago. Okay. Mike McCaffrey, wasn't he with the... You mean Mike McCarthy, Val? Yes, he was. They say BB to the Bills. You're not saying Bill Belichick, are you? That would be something. If I'm Terry Pegula, I'd be like, hey, what do I do to break out of that contract? Even though I know Belichick said he wouldn't, but listen, you get to coach Josh Allen, and he'll get that defense straight. I know you need talent. Yeah, if Belichick, let me tell you something, that would, if Belichick, now here's the thing. I understand he's now the president, Brandon Beane, but he would go right past him. He would talk right to Pegula. He wouldn't even go to Brandon Beane. So I don't know if they'd want that. And Belichick, I don't know what he's signing for, 3 years, 4 tops. Well, considering he was signed in North Carolina for 5 years and he just finished his first year, I would sign him 4 years. I mean, he's what, 73 years old? But interesting. But I don't know with Corey. I'll make sure I get his name right. Corey Brass. I don't know if that's the guy. Yeah, I don't know if they get Belichick though. Chris Shula. Yeah, chances are I could see him hiring him. Young defensive mind. And the Ravens, yeah, Jesse Minter, I heard that. All right. All right, my good people. I think I will sign off here in a minute. Any last words? Of course, now's your chance. As I got to get cracking on recording this podcast. I have it up by, the recording will be up by 12:30. The audio, the video probably later than that. And also with the video too, I plan to put graphics, I would think, starting sometime next month because, it takes a lot more work. And I want the video to come out minutes, if not seconds, after I put the audio. But in order to spruce it up, it's going to take some time. So next month is the target date that I'm looking at to maybe do that. But you'll get that here on YouTube, the audio, Apple, Spotify, of course. And, what's that? Toppers, I'm hoping Tom brings Bill to the Raiders. I don't know. Their relationship, did it, I'd say it ended badly, but I don't know if it ended well. But that'd be interesting. I mean, obviously it'd be interesting. BB would need an even younger wife to keep him young enough for that rebuild. Yeah. That's a good one, Matt. And listen, what is she? What's her name? Jordan whatever? She's what, 24 years old? I mean, that's pretty young. I mean, if he's going to go younger than that, then I wouldn't even know what to tell him at that point. So. McCarthy. Uh-oh. Steelers insider Mark Aboli, who, he's pretty good, says Pittsburgh native is the current favorite to be the next Steeler head coach. And listen, that's a safe bet. I wouldn't be mad with that. Oh, here you go. Josh Allen is reportedly stunned and not happy at all with how owner Terry Pegula and Brandon Beane conducted their press conferences today. Yeah, I mean, that was terrible. I talked about that already. Buffalo Bills fans are going to boycott. Well, that's going to be interesting, Corey, because they got a new stadium that they're opening next year. And those tickets, I'm sure. Listen, are you from Buffalo, Corey? I'm curious. Yeah, those tickets are going to be through the roof. I'd be interested. Hold on. Yeah, listen, that's going to be, yeah, that, and I didn't see the whole press conference. I know it was 54 minutes. I saw the snippets of it, and yeah, Terry Pegula, oof. And based on what I heard earlier this week from a guy who's in Buffalo, he's a guy that doesn't even face the media, Terry Pegula. And for whatever the reason, he decided to face him this week, and yeah, that was ugly. Ugh. Let me see. Oh, is that right? I didn't even know that. Danny Smith, the special teams coach, heading to Tampa to join Todd Bowles' staff. Is that right? I didn't even know that. Let me type that in. Danny Smith. Yeah. Special teams. Yeah. I wonder who the offensive coordinator is going to be. Is it still going to be Arthur Smith? No, we'll see. All right, my good people. Any last words? Because, I'm going to get ready to sign off. I appreciate each and every one of you for hopping on board. Corey, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. This is a channel that's made by a sports fan, yours truly, for you guys and gals, a sports fan. True sports talk, real sports talk, none of this clickbait, rage bait stuff. You're not going to get that from me. Toppers, no thank you, my man. I appreciate you. Thank you for hopping on board. Everybody else, Matt, Val, Corey, Jeremy, Minnesota, of course. I'll just say Seth, Patapa. I can't even pronounce that. My apologies there, Seth. Who else joined from the very beginning? Jeremy, Victor, Fishing Angel, of course. Aita Kosa. Sorry I couldn't discuss Greenland. And anybody else, if I missed, my apologies. I think I got everybody. Val, Corey. Yeah, I think that'll do it. All right, so podcast coming at you later. No, thank you, man. I appreciate you hopping on board. And everybody else for that matter. Podcast later today. Live stream back on Monday. And also, I may do a live stream of the Rams-Seahawks game. I haven't defined it yet because there's going to be a snowstorm here. I don't know if I'm going to do it here or at my in-laws. So just stay tuned for that. As always, in the blood, in the DNA, talking sports since birth. From the South Bronx, South Beach, South Central, South Pacific, and all points beyond. Peace, love, and God bless everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the podcast coming at you later today. And thanks for those who have subscribed, hopped on board, etc. I promise I will not disappoint. Until next time, everybody, on the flip.